Hey guys, well, for the first video in our video series around our Yamaha scooter, we're going to be changing out the transmission oil. The transmission on the scooter is right here, and within it we have an oil that serves as a lubricant. How often should this oil be changed? For peace of mind, I'm going to be changing it out at the end of every riding season. Where I live, we have winter, so the bike is going to be sitting for the winter months. So around the end of fall, before we put it away for the season, we'll change out the gear oil. I'm changing it now as a preventative measure, as I just took possession of the scooter and I don't know the last time it was changed. What kind of fluid are we to use? Yamaha recommends, and I'll put it up here, their transmission oil, which is a 10W30. Do not confuse this with motor oil. The viscosities are not the same when it comes to gear oils. If you can't find the Yamaha 10W30, you could also get your regular high pressure gear oil. And in this case, I'm going with an 80W90, which is pretty close to a 30 weight oil that Yamaha is using. The capacity, which was also listed in that photo, you will see is 130 milliliters complete capacity, but that's not how much we're going to be putting in. Yamaha says that when we're doing interval changes, 110 milliliters is what we're going to add. Why is that? There's always going to be some oil remaining in the transmission. We're not going to get it all out, and Yamaha accounted for that. So let's look at the steps it's going to take to first drain the old oil from the transmission. When looking at the transmission, there's going to be two access points that are critical. First, the fill port, which is just a hand screw that we loosen here and we take out to fill. We also have the drain, which is a 12 millimeter hex, which lives on the underside of the transmission, and it is right back here. And that's where it's going to be draining out of. So we're going to go ahead now, take a 12 millimeter socket and remove this drain plug. Just a couple of key points here when we're going to be draining the transmission fluid. Yamaha recommends that we run the scooter and drive it for about 5 to 10 minutes to warm up the transmission. By warming the transmission, we will warm the fluid, which will help thin it out, make it less viscous, and therefore it will flow out the drain plug easier. Secondly, as you saw, the drain plug lives more on the backside of the transmission. So getting the front wheel up on a block or a ramp is going to really help gravity do its job and help that fluid flow out. So get yourself a little makeshift catch can. Doesn't take much. There's only, like I said, about 110 ml in here. Position it under your drain plug. Break it free first with your 12 millimeter, and then we could take it out by hand as such. And that will allow the gear oil to drain fully. Once we have the gear oil all drained and there's no more coming out, we're going to have to put our drain plug back in. Keep in mind there is a copper crush washer that is on this, and this is what creates the seal between the drain plug and the threaded orifice in the transmission pan. It is highly recommended we change these crush washers every time we remove the drain plug. The washer deforms to the different surfaces to give us that seal. So I leave that up to you guys. A lot of people don't change them, they get away with it, but there's a bit of a risk that if you don't change it, you could develop a bit of a leak. So here we have our used oil, so you can take a look at it and see how dirty or clean it is. Mine's looking pretty dirty, so I'm happy we're changing it out. We're then going to go ahead, put our drain plug back in, and we're going to snug it up hand tight. The torque spec on this is extremely low in inch-pounds, so really hand snug is going to get you there. Don't over tighten it, you could strip out the pan. Now that we have our fluid drained, our drain plug back in, it's going to be time to put in the new gear oil. The easiest way to do it, I find, is using a large syringe that has the numbers on it. So we said we need 110 milliliters. This is a 100 ml syringe. So I'll be doing one full syringe plus 10 ml to get me at the level I want. It's just an easier and cleaner way to do it to access that fill port. And there you have it, guys. The first video in our video series on our Yamaha scooter, how to change out the fluid in our transmission. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some good information from it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.